In my journey to attain 500 hours of playtime in Breath of the Wild, I've been trying to do many challenges I'd never done before. But obviously I've completed every Divine Beast dozens of times, but I've never speedrun them. So I asked myself, with my current skill set, how fast can I beat every Divine Beast? Let's find out. This run begins in the Temple of Time with only a few arrows, an axe, and a sledgehammer. I did this so my viewers that were watching live here on YouTube wouldn't have to go through the boring tutorial section with me. I immediately boomy-zoomied all the way over to the old man's hut to gather and cook some stamina food. I then teleported to the Cryonis Shrine before doing another boomy-zoomie across the giant gap separating the Great Plateau and the Wasteland part of the map. The reason I'm going over here is because I want to unlock the Wasteland Tower for fast traveling purposes later in the run, so that I have less time for traveling in between segments. The downsides of obtaining the tower itself, though, is having to watch the long, unskippable cutscene while the tower gives me a map piece and tells me how to use the useless shrine locator. Afterwards, I do a BLSS and begin traveling all the way to Rito Village. Super! Why aren't you going to Gerudo Village? It's closer to where you are, and Vah Naboris is the Divine Beast you said that you understand the least. Well, you see, while Gerudo Village and its respective Divine Beast is closer, taking down the giant bird first makes a lot of the puzzles in the other three Divine Beasts much easier to complete. And, you know, I've gotten a lot better at BLSSs, so there's no way that I could fall. Well, after failing an emergency wind bomb, I had to do a fall damage cancel to land safely, but this is fine because I wanted to stop at the Tamantha Tower to pick up a Royal Claymore anyways. After another successful Boomy-Soomy, I arrived next to Rito Village and gathered some food. But before I could talk to the village elder to start the quest, Vah Medoh and Zelda popped in to explain Breath of the Wild's plot to me. No way, really? After talking with a giant snowy owl, I had to talk to Saki to get not only an unskippable cutscene, but also to spawn Teba at the flight range. Just before I spoke to him, I shot an arrow at a target. This way, once I talk to Teba and start his skill test, the target breaks before the timer even begins, and I can shoot the other four super quickly. Teba gives me some bomb arrows, and Link climbs on his back to soar up to the Divine Beast. Up here, in order to gain entry, you have to deactivate Vah Medoh's barrier by blowing up the cannon surrounding it. Upon entering each Divine Beast, the spirits of the champions will all begin to talk to you to direct you to the Divine Beast control panel. You can mash for the dialogue as fast as possible, but you still have to watch the entire cutscene. Fun fact, if you are a top level speedrunner, you don't actually need to get the control panel for Divine Beast Vah Medoh. But I quickly realized that I am in fact not a top runner. So after obtaining the control panel and a few more falls, I ran through the Divine Beast activating all the terminals, which allows you to activate the engine and start the boss fight. Now, some people would argue that Windblade is the easiest of the four main bosses in Breath of the Wild. However, it just so happens that for me, this is my least favorite of the Blights to fight. You see, Windblade likes to fly and teleport. Heck, sometimes he even does it right after teleporting once. He also likes to throw tornadoes at you. The main strategy that you want to use to take him down is to just shoot him with arrows. So, despite the odds, I managed to defeat Windblade and free my first Divine Beast in only 44 minutes. Not bad at all! Before I left for my next Divine Beast, I ran back up to talk to the village elder, that way he would give me the Great Eagle Bow. This is a multi-shot bow, and it's going to be the best weapon we can get in the entire game. After collecting the bow, I fast traveled back to the Wasteland Tower that I unlocked earlier and traveled to Gerudo Village. Before you enter Gerudo Village though, you have to do a few things first. You see, the Gerudo don't allow men to enter the town, but by talking to this guy standing outside the nearby shrine, you trigger an NPC in Kara Kara Bazaar to spawn that will sell you an outfit which allows Link to cross-dress to gain entry into the town. However, I didn't have enough money, so I had to go back to get some, but it's fine. After entering the town and speaking with Riju, the current chief, she sends me all the way to the Yiga hideout to sneak around and fight Master Koga to retrieve the Thunderhelm. That way we have some level of protection from the giant metal camel's lightning attacks. And so, after a close call while trying to shoot Vah Naboris' hooves with bomb arrows, I gained entry to the Divine Beast. And I can confidently say that this time around, it did not take me half an hour to complete all the puzzles. It took me 15 minutes. Then, after activating the engine, I had to fight my sleep paralysis demon, Thunderblade. However, thanks to a lucky charge shot from him, I managed to beat him on my first try. So, I obtained Urbosa's Fury, and after speaking with Riju once more, I got the Scimitar of the Seven and the Daybreaker Shield. Now that the western part of the map is complete, I fast traveled back to the Great Plateau's tower. Here, I did a combo of BLSSs and wind bombs, making my way all the way to Zora's domain. Here, I got yelled at by my chat for skipping Sidon. I'm so sorry, dear Sidon. And after mashing through 5 minutes of unskippable dialogue and cutscenes, Sidon told me to go to Polymus Mountain to gather 20 shock arrows. When I got up there, I gathered about 15 and went to start the Divine Beast. But this was when I found out for the very first time that Sidon won't let you take on the Divine Beast if you have less than 20. So I reloaded a save, killed the Lionel, gaining its shock arrows, and finally started the entrance quest, which is literally to shoot 4 engines. Why did I need 20 arrows for this? After some more unskippable dialogue from Mipha, I entered the Divine Beast and solved all the puzzles, and got to fight Waterblade. And considering this is my favorite Divine Beast, you can bet that I've lost twice. So after 3 attempts, I managed to finally beat Water Blight, and then I sped off to Death Mountain. I quickly realized I was going to need a lot of money for this section, so I sold a lot of items just to get a bunch of fireproof elixirs from the stable just below it and made my way up the volcano. I ended up losing my sense of direction on the way to Goron Mines, but thankfully I managed to find my way to Goron City, where I realized how little money I actually had left. You see, on Death Mountain, if Link doesn't have any sort of fire protection, he almost immediately catches fire. And only having the 1 level of protection from the elixirs is fine in Goron City, but it's definitely not enough to save Yunobo. So I backtracked and defeated the Talus on the Great Plateau, getting enough money to buy 1 piece of Flamebreaker armor. I didn't get more money because I thought that when I saved Yunobo there would be some chests with a few gems. I was very, very wrong. So after wasting even more time backtracking, I got another piece of armor and went on with Yunobo to climb Death Mountain, the worst part of the entire run. You see, as you climb the volcano, Vah Rudania sends out these little sentries that if they spot you or Yunobo will cause the Divine Beast to rain hellfire upon you. Side note, did you know that Yunobo really doesn't like to listen to you? Oh, come on, Yunobo. Move faster, Yunobo! Yunobo, you definitely can reach my location. Come on, get over here. Yunobo, let's move. If you say you can't reach my location one more time. Eventually, after about 15 minutes of this section of the game, we finally managed to launch Yunobo enough times at the stupid fire lizard to enter the Divine Beast. Vah Rudania's main gimmick is that it starts you in pitch black darkness until you find its control panel. After you do, it opens up the roof and you can see. This Divine Beast took me about 8 minutes to do, and so I was quickly onto Fire Blight. However, this seemed a little bit too easy for me, so mid-fight, I asked my chat a question. Actually, chat, should I do dungeon percent?
That flaming ball is dangerous.
Should I do all dungeons? I'll leave that to you guys. You guys want to see me fight Calamity Ganon tonight? Fight Calamity Ganon? No. Good night. You should? After beating Fireblight and completing the final Divine Beast, I suddenly found myself taking on a new goal, defeating Calamity Ganon. So, I immediately began doing all my speedrunning tricks to get to Hyrule Castle as fast as possible. And I got there pretty dang fast. But after realizing I couldn't climb all the way up a nearby wall, I used Rivali's Gale, and I got a bit too close to a Guardian Skywatcher, so it rapid fired at me and there was nothing I could do as I respawned on Death Mountain, now slightly tilted. I made my way all the way back to Hyrule Castle, and just barely might I add, so I had to climb all the way back up to the Inner Sanctum, and thus began my fight with Calamity Ganon. As a reward for all my hard work over the last 4 hours, all the Divine Beasts and their champions came together to blast away half of Calamity Ganon's health. And so, this is it. Through a mess of parries, flurry rushes, bomb arrows, and a little help from the champions, I managed to make it to phase 2 of the fight. During this phase of the fight, Calamity Ganon is invincible to all attacks, so in order to damage him, you have to parry or flurry rush his attacks. The giant evil spider knew he was no match, even as I was running and flurry rushing to find a new weapon. Calamity Ganon tried to run up walls to face me from a distance, but it didn't work out for him as I reflected his shots. With one final strike of lightning, Calamity Ganon would fall once more and never know what hit him. Die! Oh, but the run isn't over just yet. There's still one more fight, and the clock is still ticking. I appeared in Hyrule Field to fight the incarnation of darkness itself, Dark Beast Ganon, and I collected the Bow of Light. Princess Zelda held back the malice while I shot, reducing the board's health little by little, until at last one final shot would be the end of this beast's total existence, and that's time with 4 hours, 11 minutes, and 42 seconds. And hey, even though my speedrun may not be the fastest or most clean and impressive run that's ever been performed, it doesn't take away the fun I have speedrunning. Because to me, it's not about just trying to obtain a world record. Speedrunning is about finding new and exciting ways to enjoy my favorite games. So, whether you're a new speedrunner or a pro, remember just to have fun with whatever you do, because at the end of the day, it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey along the way.